So welcome everybody. This is the podcast of the Scruton Seminar, which is held on this week in the Scruton cafe. And two of my subjects are here who participate in the Scruton Seminar, and you give lectures too.
I have, yes.
You have a lecture on the governance theories of Scruton, and you are from South Africa.
Yeah. I'm just a participant this week, and I'm enjoying it immensely. It's wonderful.
So the first question could be that what is your relation to Scruton? If you have a personal relation, as you have, as far as I know, if you would say something about that, but also the spiritual relation. Why do you like Scruton, and why you are interested in his works?
Well, I was a student of Roger's. 2016-17, I studied under him at the University of Buckingham, master's degree by research, and I was so my relationship then continued after that until, unfortunately, his passing. So my relationship is of him is of a student sort of teacher relationship, which then started to change latterly when I started then to create my own sphere and interests and intellectual interests. Well, intellectually and spiritually, what drew me to Scruton's work, you'll know that I changed from Roger personally, Scruton intellectually, you'll notice that I do that, was he put a positive view of conservatism, especially towards the latter end of his career, and especially around the environmental purposes. And he said human beings require something to attach to a greater good, and this is love. And he has this concept called oikophilia, which is the love of home. And this is what particularly attaches me to his work, is that he has a positive vision for conservatism. Yes, you write things that you are against and what you criticize, but the underpinning aspect of conservatism is a positive one. It's love, but also the idea of that it's easy to destroy, it's difficult to create. And because of that love is difficult, and you have to keep moving forward, and it's reciprocal and based on different aspects. So that's what attracted to me intellectually.
What is your relation to?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I could never personally meet Professor Dr. Sir Roger Scruton. It would have been amazing, but this week I have the opportunity to meet his wife and his daughter. I've been enjoying that immensely. Wonderful people that have come to the conference. My relationship with him academically has been quite profound. I started with studying theology, and he was a keen apologist. While a lot has been written about his own faith and so on, I'm more referring to his attack on atheism. And there are some wonderful debates on YouTube that I can recommend to people who are wondering about atheism and its core tenets.
For example, with Jordan Peterson.
Yes. There are some conversations between Scruton and Peterson, but I'm referring to earlier conversations. There was a very important debate between Dawkins, Hitchens, and Scruton. So Scruton on the other side of the table, where he criticized the idea of not being able to attach to anything. And I think, like Dan has pointed out, this idea that you can attach to love and that you can transcend, and that is a human requirement or need. And after my studies in theology, I went into political studies, where I once again found Scruton to be just a wonderful source of answers to Leninism, which is very important for the South African government at the moment. And so in answering that, I have found in Scruton a source of wisdom.
Plus question is here for me, because you mentioned his debates with atheists or prominent atheist writers. What do you both of you think on his relation to Christianity? Because it seemed to me that he struggles with the faith all over his life. He's sympathetic to Christianity, but he cannot decide if he's an Anglican or a Catholic in his hurt, or if he really have faith or not, or just he wants to have faith or something like this. So it's complicated stuff, I think.
It is complicated stuff. I think his book on our church is exquisite, and his relationship with the church. That is, if you're interested in his view and in the face of God, these are the places where you go. But the personal story is that, of course, the Anglican Church is very much embedded in the way of life of England. And it's interesting, he refers to the church in England, which is important for him. You've got to understand community, you've got to understand nation, to where the church comes in. And of course, this is attached to the countryside where he moves when he's 50, and the rituals, the traditions embedded in Anglicanism, playing the organ, when the music. So there, for Scruton, there is the spiritual, the aesthetic, and the uplifting nature of music are all intertwined, and therefore that then comes along with the philosophical part of Scruton, which he, being a philosopher, he doesn't quite, at times, it changes towards the end of his life, he does more theological work, but he doesn't quite say, right, I'm going to make that leap. But it was interesting, his final piece of work he wrote for The Spectator, and he said that the essence of life is gratitude, and I think he has gratitude for the church and these type of things. Your point about the Catholic, there is an Anglo-Catholic tradition, which was, I think, influenced him. You can see it in his social teachings and his social writing. So there is that element. I believe he comes at it from a sort of a more bottom-up approach through ritual, through liturgy, and these sort of things.
Yeah, and for me, I see that we often, I mean, this idea of falling somewhere between belief and unbelief, and having doubt and working your whole life towards understanding, that I think is part of the normal human condition. And so for that, we see in him a serious and a profound struggle, which he's open and honest about, which I think we can appreciate. But something that I appreciate even more is the way that he goes about it. You'll see in the works of people like Voltaire a very not utilitarian, because that's a specific kind of political thought, but a utility approach to faith, meaning that Voltaire says, even though I don't believe, I want my baker to believe, because that is a societal
Church has an important role in society to uphold ethics or something like this.
Exactly, and that can become cruel, I think, and it can become derogatory in the Voltaire way, and possibly I think Nietzsche may have had some of that as well. But what you see in Scruton is a profound idea to say, well, even though I'm not sure, I sincerely appreciate the fact that for everyone it is an ability to strive towards transcendence of the human condition. And for him, it's never a thing of, well, I want everyone to believe simply because that would make society peaceful, or some utility like that. He really believes that there is essential human value in faith and in the struggle and in this attempt of finding something higher and going through the tradition and finding that which gives you inherent peace, and that for which you can ultimately be so grateful that it transcends your human condition, like Dan has pointed out. So for me, I appreciate his approach to his own doubt and his own faith and his own growth and thought about it.
I think it is interesting that you can see Edmund Burke's influence on him here, that he does think that human beings are religious, and you will attach yourselves to different things. Of course, a Christian will go to the Christian God and so on. So I do think that there is an element of the human being is religious, social aspect. Aristotle, these sort of influences on Roger.
And why is this Scruton Seminar here at Budapest in Central Europe is important to you? Why did you came here for the seminar?
From my side, it was a wonderful opportunity. So I was in Budapest in any case for a junior fellowship at the Matthias Corvinus Collegium. And I got an opportunity to participate, and I was never going to miss that opportunity to listen to world-class academics on the topic. And it's an interest of mine in any case. So I would say, firstly, the opportunity to meet people who are not necessarily like-minded, because if that could just become an echo chamber, but people who want to talk about solutions for society and people who are profound and honest about that. So that opportunity was wonderful, and doing that around the work of someone as relevant and contemporary, but still as universal as Roger Scruton, I found too great an opportunity to miss.
That's great. I agree with all of that. As an excellent way of putting it. For me, I was asked if I would like to come and participate. Last year, I did a research fellowship at the University of Public Service here in Budapest, and people know my connection. I studied with Roger, so they said, "Would you like to come and participate in this?" And I said, "Yes, please. That'd be great." Also, one thing that's excellent, the Scruton Hub is a wonderful institution, and it's putting Scruton's work into practice. You've got beautiful wallpaper, you've got beautiful food, you've got beautiful wine, and how can you not turn that down? Of course, I was going to come.
A certain thing that conservatives are not ascetics, as many leftists think.
Yes.
Maybe it's on the other way, as Scruton would say.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, that was funny because a person said to me, that the way that I dress is like a liberal here, and I was thinking, in Britain, I dress like a conservative. So that's I think that's an interesting.
It's changing in Hungary too, so it's not true anymore. And a last question, because it's a short podcast. It's that you are here at Budapest for a longer time.
I was, but my time is finishing at the end of this conference.
You are here from the weekend, maybe?
Yes.
Since the weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what is your impression if you had time to, I don't know, get around?
So
city,
my
about
impression of
the
Budapest has been wonderful. The 4 months that I've spent here, I got the opportunity to run around a lot and do my jogging next to the river. And I saw the most of Hungary. I saw the big cities, and it's a lovely country. And the way in which people appreciate their history, I think, is something that I will take with me.
People are very welcoming indeed, very polite, very kind. The hospitality and the generosity has been wonderful. And just the Danube River and the architecture essentially just growing out of the river, and then you have the river flowing through, and then the architecture coming out of it, popping out of it, and the history speaking to you. Winston Churchill said that our buildings shape us, and we build our buildings, and then they shape us. And I think that Budapest does that to people. This beauty of growing out of the river. It's hard to disconnect Budapest without the Danube. It's beautiful.
That's true. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you.
Pleasure.